Welcome everybody to another episode of Love Journey with Jay Abraham. Today we have with us Kerry Nelson. Kerry Nelson has many titles. If this and She's not only an author and a businesswoman, but she's also a public speaker and a mentor. She mentored me for quite some time, and our work together is only progressing. She's a great author of an amazing book called Freedom Machine, and it's all about how to make your business run like a well-oiled machine without you. So it's not just about automation, but it's really about sustainability in the longer journey. She's also the She has a website called Operation Verve. So she shares her knowledge and understanding about the business world and how to really make the business world run for you instead of you running the business itself. And then she's her mentorship with me. She's really helped me understand how to structure my business and how to really navigate through my own journey of building an empire for myself or a business world for myself. And she's really understanding. And her personality is amazing. Her interaction with people is just so genuine and so affectionate. And because of that, our work together has always been growing. And she's been in the game for 20 years. She doesn't look like it, but she's been great with me. And so I just want to welcome Kerry. Kerry, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So, to a lot of people that's listening and don't know your work and who you are at the moment, if you don't mind just giving us a quick, brief introduction of who you are and your work that you
Yes.
do.
Yes. So I am Kerry Anne Nelson. I'm a workplace process architect. So I help people to organise the operational side of things in their business and help train their teams and manage their staff and maintain excellent performance across all of the human parts of their business. So I'm not a website developer. I don't do technical stuff. Although, of course, along the way, there's lots of tools and platforms that we use to really get the best performance out of teams and get businesses humming along really smoothly. So, yeah, that's a little bit about what I do.
There you go. And you've been doing this now for 20 years. Do you think the passion has gone?
No. This business itself, I've been working exclusively as a process consultant for the last couple of years. Prior to that, I have been in other service-based businesses, but the bulk of my work has actually been in online retail. So, hence the vacuum spot business that I helped found with my late husband. So, yeah, so no, I haven't lost the passion. In fact, the more that I grow in business and learn and get to really help people with the business, the more it really drives me forward to want more and more. I love it.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I think the work that we did together just shows the tenacity and the passion that you still have for the business itself. Not only the wisdom that you have to entrust in me, but also the wisdom of how the market works and how to really automate your life without really worrying so much about how the business runs, which is great. My question to you is that, so you just finished writing a book, Freedom Machine, which I'm still yet to get my copy. Thank you very much. I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind the book.
Yes, absolutely. So really, the book is the product of the journey that I've had over the last 5 or 6 years. And it does actually stem back to when I lost my late husband. So at that time, we were running the online retail business, selling vacuum cleaner spare parts, which it's really not sexy, but it works really, really well online because no one wants to go shopping for vacuum cleaner bags. So people just click, it's done. And so it works really well. We had a really great turnover. We had a little team. We did all of our own order fulfillment ourselves, blah, blah, blah. So things were going really well, except behind the scenes, we were an absolute mess. So we'd never done a stock take, even though we were turning over $1 million a year in revenue. We were shipping out hundreds and hundreds of orders every week ourselves, and yet we had no system for that order fulfillment process. We had nothing written down. We didn't automate our stock control. It was really bad. From a management point of view, it was terrible. And my husband was the leader of the business. And so I tended to sit back and, we used to argue about how things ran, but he was the one who was driving the ship. And so, yeah, things sort of went along. And and what that meant was that we were not profitable. We were turning over truckloads of money. It was like a cash machine, you know, like a money tree. And yet all of our expenses were so out of control, and we were not making any money. In fact, we carried debt for a good 10 years. And when he passed away, I was left with all of that debt and left with a business that was really high maintenance and labour intensive. And so I needed to sort that out. And I did. And the lessons that I learned in how to streamline my systems and document my processes and train new team members and make things run without me are the lessons now that I help other people. And certainly that's what's in the book, how to do that.
Brilliant, brilliant. Oh, yeah. I mean, I thought my debt was bad, but yeah, I'm guessing to having all that automation going on, I mean, all that business going on without the real proper automation system of it, it's just kind of not only time consuming, but it puts a lot of stress and pressure onto you guys as well. So it's an interesting concept that you have. And so what made you drive to have the book written now? I mean, like, what drove you to write the book now, really?
Yes. Really, I think over these last few years, I've realized that what I do can be taught. And at first, when I first lost my husband, it was something that I intuitively did. And I've got a background in education. I'm a trained teacher. And so I know how to train people. I know how to support people. I know how to write a grammatically correct sentence. So I could do this work, you know, and I needed to in my own business. But for quite a while, I didn't know how to pass that knowledge on. Okay. And it's only been in this past couple of years, as I've worked in dedicated consulting, I can see, you know, there are things that happen in every business, whether you're in retail, service-based, whatever. There are certain components that always will need to be fixed, and there are certain methods that will always work to fix them. So now I guess I've come to the point of clarity where I can communicate what people actually need to do to get their staff working really, really well. Because even though every human is different, we all need effective communication, and we all need clear goals, and we all need a positive workplace. So they're the things that I've realised exactly how I can set up tools to facilitate that.
Brilliant, brilliant. No, it's great. I can't wait until you send me my copy with signature and autograph. Thank you very much. I can't wait for that. So how did the transition go for you from going to a teacher to a business mindset? Well,
in actual fact, I started business before I started teaching. So the teaching for me, so the backstory goes that I met my late husband selling Kirby vacuum cleaners door to door. And so the vacuum thing has always sort of been there. And we really needed some more stability. I had 2 young children at that time, and door-to-door sales is a lot of travel, particularly in the country, which is where I was. So, so from there we moved into a Godfrey's vacuum cleaner franchise. And so that provided the stability while still using our industry knowledge and connections. But I was completely bored to tears. I was sick of retail. I was sick of selling. I was sick of vacuums. And my son at that time was really having trouble at school. And so I actually spent a fair bit of time at the school in his classroom. And I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing, but I remember sitting there in class next to my son, Zach, at that time. He would have been 6, and thinking, is this what teachers do? Oh, I could do that. I'm just going to go to the teacher.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It works.
Yeah, so the business was always running. So from Godfrey's, we finished up that franchise. We opened up a small appliance repair centre, and then from there we went online. So that was always on the go, and I did my teaching, my degree, and then my teaching work alongside the business. So I was always involved behind the scenes strategically. So I was always involved in developing the customer experience and developing the processes behind the scenes, and lots of content, because online retail needs a lot of content. So I was always involved there, but yeah, I was teaching as well, it was very busy in those days with the kids being a lot younger, and there was a lot on. But yeah, so for me, there are core values that underline everything I do of freedom and empowerment, and they're that both business and education provide freedom and empowerment, and so I can really dedicate myself wholeheartedly to that, because people are free when they have financial wealth, and people are free when they're educated. So
Brilliant.
they go hand in hand for me.
They do go hand in hand. No, it definitely does. It definitely does. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that kind of concept. So what's the one thing that you've seen throughout your whole journey of not only automating your business, but also mentoring other people? What is the one thing that you notice a lot of people tend to make the same mistakes all the time?
People tend to make the same mistakes in, well, I can think of the mistakes that I've made in my life, and so I'm sure that goes across the board. Not rising to your full potential because you're afraid, because you doubt yourself, for whatever reason. I think when we stretch ourselves to big goals, and we commit to them, then they require a plan in place. And when people take action, it's when you stretch past what you thought you had your previous capacity of. So whether it be as a teacher or as a business mentor now, I'm very interested in saying, let's set a big goal and then let's create steps to achieve that goal. So I think people sell out, people play small, and it's scary. Hope is scary. Because that means that you're daring to believe that your fears are wrong, So saying, I've set a goal recently that over the course of my business building, I want to have 1 million actively engaged followers. And that's scary. To put that out there, to put it in writing, to tell my team, and then start to think, how do I get 1 million actively engaged followers? Well, I need a really good plan for my marketing, for my sales, for my, whatever. So people sell themselves short. And if you don't set the big goal, you're never going to know what you could achieve.
It's beautiful. I like that. So 1 million engaging followers. How far are you away from that?
Oh my gosh, about 900. How do you even say the number? 950,000.
Oh, that's not bad. You still have 50,000 followers. That's by itself amazing there.
No, that's not right. That's not right. It's 995,000. I've got about 5,000
followers. That's still not that bad.
Yeah.
And so how do you see yourself projecting that idea? I mean, is it through public speaking, or is it the book sales, or how do you see yourself getting there?
There's not going to be one pathway. There can't possibly be one pathway. There has to be an integrated approach across various platforms. So getting the book out there is really an important part of that, because it gives people something tangible to attach to invest in. And I don't mean financial investment. I mean a personal engagement is what I mean.
Yeah.
So, because selling a book it's so cheap, that's not going to make me $1 million, that's for sure. But it will provide that engagement from people. So across the book, across my speaking, I'm working on developing my online courses right now so people can engage there. And then I'm also working on building my Infusionsoft campaigns behind the scenes. So there's a lot of infrastructure being built now, but the clarity that I've got, I only set that goal 3 weeks ago.
Hey,
Yeah, so it's a really new thing. I've been working towards that sort of clarity, but there's a journey involved. You can't just pull a big goal out of thin air. It needs to evolve, and it needs to come from deep inside you, And so, but since I've had that concept, I'm like, right, all I want to do is engage these 1 million people. So how can I get them?
That's a real $1 million question now. Brilliant. And so what is it that really inspires you daily to really continue with these goals and increasing your goals, and I guess pushing the finish line further and further away all the time?
Yes. Like I said, the core values of freedom and empowerment absolutely drive me every day. But I've chosen to invest in business owners because they are nothing short of inspiring. To see a business owner build something from scratch, they start with an idea that is literally nothing more than an imagination, and they turn it into a product, or they turn it into services, they turn it into a website, and they turn it into social media, they turn it into a growing team with great services available, and they turn it into revenue, and it all literally starts from nothing. Do you know, I think that's incredible. I really love origami.
Okay.
I think paper. I love the smell of paper and the feel of paper. But what I love about origami is that you can take one single piece of paper and it can turn into a multi-dimensional, beautiful thing that's got form and shape and depth, and you literally make it out of just steps along the way. And that's a little bit, maybe it's a good metaphor for why I like business so much, because you're turning nothing into something substantial. It's amazing. And the difference that it makes is, it's just so good.
No, I love the energy. No, I like that metaphor of origami, how from paper you can turn it into a 3D form. Never thought of it myself. That's brilliant. Oh,
yeah.
man. So, okay. So in all grand scheme of things, how do you define yourself?
Oh, gosh. That's a universal question. Oh, my goodness.
We are universal people, my friend.
Oh, wow, that is so huge. How do I define myself? When I was younger, I had a belief system that actually caused problem. It wasn't serving me well, and I've needed to deconstruct it over the years, because I grew up in an army family. My dad was really strict and really performance driven, and so I had a belief that I was defined a lot by my work and by what I did, my actions, my deeds, I guess. And all that leads to is breakdown and stress and exhaustion, and you're never good enough, because there's always more that you could do, or you could do better performance or more work or whatever. And so I thoroughly enjoy working. I love being productive and making a difference with my days, but now I understand that who I am is not what I do, and that there's a core part of me that is based around like universal attributes, that I believe that all of us at our core, that we are love, and we are generosity, and we are trust, and we are significant in those things, and I think that core person exists in us always. But then real life comes along and it masks them, or we learn maybe some tools that aren't so helpful in the long run, but they protect us, So I believe that at our core, that all humans are trusting, but then the trust gets broken, so we get defensive, and then, but I think at our most pure state, we are love, and we are trust, and we are generosity. And so I guess I'm always aspiring to be that, but that's a lifelong journey, I think.
That's amazing. No, I like the idea of when we grow up or throughout our upbringing, we always start off with trusting everybody, because we understand that we have the protection and the safety and security from our family. But once that trust breaks down, our walls comes up, and then trying to break through those walls will only hinder our future relationship with somebody else, but also our relationship with ourselves, saying, okay, if somebody did not treat me well, maybe it is me. Maybe I am not loved. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not worthy. And tend to really hinder us, should I say, in our own progress. So it's a very profound journey that you went through, and it's great. And what I liked about it is that you used that lifestyle to really empower you rather than hinder you. That mindset of working, of tenacity, of persevering, of really working hard and never having a dull moment, really pushed you into the success that you're having now. And that's why you were a mentor before, of course, you fired me. So we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. So it sounds like it was a little tough upbringing, should I say. But what do you say throughout this whole journey that you've been through terrified you the most? It could be something in the past, it could be something in the future. But what do you think really terrified you the most, or terrified you?
Yes. Yes. I know exactly what terrifies me the most, and that is getting stuck, not having growth, staying how I used to be. My family was really strict, and I left home when I was very young, and I've learned a lot of great things from my parents and from being the oldest child, and so there are a lot of great things about my family. But when I left, I decided I need to learn how to be different from my family. I need to learn a different way of living and being, and I need to learn how to do relationships more successfully. And I really wanted to have, I wanted to buy my own house. I wanted to have a business. I wanted to be able to travel and, and things that we didn't have access to growing up. And so I had to learn how to do that. And the idea, and I've learned so much, and I love learning, and business is such a wonderfully raw journey to allow that growth. But yeah, for me, the idea that I would sort of stop here, that I would ever arrive. Oh my gosh, that's a horrible thought. It's awful.
To arrive at. So do you ever see yourself stopping from all this? Like, is there an end goal?
Sometimes I wonder, what will my old age be like? How will I go if I don't know, will I still be as mobile? Will I lose my mind? Will I get dementia? I don't know. Will I get sick? I don't know. So that's the only thing I think, if I physically was not able to do what I do, but no, I can't imagine what my life, I have no plan of retiring.
And given the fact that you're doing all these automation style business and stuff, I don't think you ever need to really keep going, which is a great thing in a way.
Yes, well, I work because I love working, not because I need to. I think that's the key.
That's I think that's let me use that. That's beautiful. So you discussed that because you had to work on your own or depend on yourself at such a young age and going through this journey, that you had to work on your own relationship. So tell us a little bit, what do you mean by relationship in that sense? You mean relationship with yourself or others? How did that go?
I keep on finding that the better the relationship I have with myself is, the better my relationships with others. And that goes through to my most intimate relationships. So I've had 3 life loves, I guess you could say. So I got married really young and had my 2 beautiful children to their dad, and his name is Adam. And I've spoken with Adam about this, so I'm not speaking out of school at all here when I say that I know, looking back, the reason that I married him was because he was different from my dad. He was really fun. He was spontaneous, sanguine, outgoing sort of a guy. And I loved that. It was so much fun. But after a few years, I realized that it wasn't enough for me. It wasn't substantial enough. I wasn't going to be able to own the house, do the travel, build the business, because he wasn't interested in that. And to this day, he's not. We didn't share the same values. And so that really led to the downfall of that relationship. And we divorced after 7 years. And it was in the next round that I met Alec. And he was actually my boss when we were selling Kirby vacuum cleaners. And he was very ambitious and motivated and wanted to build businesses. And we had the same priorities, so we could share and we could invest together. And so that love of freedom and empowerment and building a business, building financial freedom, and doing really excellent work, that was something that we both had in common. And so losing him was absolutely devastating. But now I'm in my 3rd relationship, and amazingly, the man I'm with now, his name is Rod, and we got engaged. I don't even know if you know this, Jay. We got engaged a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. I wasn't invited again, but we're not going to.
So,
and we're really happy.
Come on, get out of here, Rod. That was Rod, everybody. He just came in to interrupt us again.
Yeah, so, but what's amazing about Rod is that, well, firstly, he was my first boyfriend when I was 17, when I very first moved out of home. So I've had a nice continuity, you know, that's sort of a lovely circling around with him. But now it's amazing how life opens things up. And I honestly thought I would stay married to Alec to the day I died. I had no idea that that things were going to turn out the way they did. But now in this relationship with Rod, I still get to be the ambitious, driven, motivated person that I am. But Rod doesn't have the same pace as me. And so the balance that I enjoy in this part of my life now is really, really beautiful, because we're complementary in a really great way, where there is a lot more balance. Alec and I loved being married to him, don't get me wrong, but it was exhausting being around someone with the same ambition, the same motivation, and we just chased each other, you know? And while that was really productive, it was really intense. And now I've got balance that yeah, I can work really hard, but I can also rest really well as well now.
Yeah. No, I like that. And I think you used the word balance in life. We complementary one another. I think you stole that from my podcast, so I'm loving that. But I like the idea, the fact that it's complementing rather than completing one another. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that you're not a whole unless you have somebody that completes you. Is a wrong mindset to have, especially with trying to grow in your own prospect in your own life. So completing and balancing one another is great. And chasing another, as I said in your previous late husband's relationship, it's just that chasing one another, you tend to get exhausted very quickly, trying to chase a facade that will never be there, or a mirage that will always continue going further and further away. And I guess now finding that balance is great. And Rod is an amazing person. He keeps on interrupting my conversations, but he's an amazing person. So that's great. Now, I'm glad and I like the fact that you said that your relationship with yourself was the first thing that you worked on, and the thing that really mattered the most, and beside everything else. And I tend to, people forget that you need to work on yourself before you work on others. Similar idea, you got to love yourself before you love other people. So you did that pretty well. And how was that journey for you, though, trying to find yourself first?
It's really confronting, and it's not always pleasant, because to take responsibility for your own feelings, for your thoughts, for your shortcomings, for when you get something wrong, that's really humbling, and it's really vulnerable. It is so easy to blame other people for your feelings, for your position in life, for, you know, what has happened or hasn't happened. And I've got to be honest, I did that with Alec. I did that a lot. And so when I lost him, this is terrible, but there was no one there anymore to blame. And what happened from that point forward was squarely on my shoulders, not only in my business, but in who I was. And even though I've always prized empowerment and freedom, I've got to be really transparent and say that I had never been alone. So losing Alec, I moved out of home. I had Rod, my partner Rod. Then from that relationship there, I had a couple of like little nothing boyfriends. And then I met the kid's dad, my first husband. And then from there, I met Alec, and I was working, traveling with the sales crew. So I lived in a shared house with them until Alec and I moved in together. And so then to lose him, I'd literally never lived alone. I'd never had independence, and I'd never really had that empowerment. And so to realize just how lonely I was and how much I'd relied on other people's company to help me feel safe. And it was a very brutal realization, and it was one that was horrible and so scary. But I did get comfortable in my own skin, and I realized that I can do things. I can fix things, and I can build things, and I can get myself to places, and I can do the dishes and the washing, you know.
I love that.
So I watched myself functioning, and now it's great because Rod gets to enjoy the benefit of this person who is not dependent on him. I love him. I love being with him, but I know I don't need him the way that I thought I needed other people in the past.
Correct.
So,
I get what that means, and I hope people can understand the difference between what you said and what you meant. Because people will say, doesn't need him, that means she's independent, or she doesn't need anybody. But in reality, that doesn't need him in that dependency sense to be functional. I understand that. Yeah, I understand that.
And he doesn't define me. My
Correct.
relationship with him is not who I am.
Correct.
It's a very important part of who I am and what my life is, but yeah, there's not
Correct.
that dependency.
It may be, it's an ingredient in your life or an equation, but it's not what defines you completely. I agree. No, I agree.
Yes.
Okay, so now I've asked this question to many people and they tend to give me really different answers. If you could date your business, would you?
Ooh, if I could date my business. If I could date my business, would I? As in go out on a date?
With the business that you have now, with everything that you're going through, would you date your business?
I'm trying to conceive my business as a person but it is, I guess it's something that I have a relationship with every day. Yeah. In a way, I'm kind of already dating my business. You know what? Yeah. I would date my business now because I know it's going to be better in a few years.
You can see the potential in the in your business, and because of that, you're going to continue dating your business.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I know what it takes to build a freedom machine, and I've done that before in my previous business. I'm in the process of building this business to that point now, so I'll get there. But right now, my business would be a needy date.
Okay. Yeah, we have a lot of those.
That's what it takes. In the first few years, it takes building. It takes doing the hard yards and building the structures that work.
Of course. No, that makes sense. Okay. So you would date a needy business because you know it will grow. Okay. We'll take that. We'll take it. So to the 17-year-old you that first came out of home and really started this whole journey, what was the first, what's the advice you would give her?
It's so cheesy.
Go for it. We love cheesy. We're not lactose intolerant. Go for it.
Believe in yourself and don't play small.
Okay.
I look back and I think I've wasted so much time in my life, and now I turned 44 a couple of weeks ago, and I think, this next 10 years is going to be a whole lot more productive than the previous 10. And my 20s, I don't know what I was doing.
No, neither do I. I can't say. Yeah, okay. No, that's good. Believe in yourself. That is the corniest of all corniest. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, we'll take it. For a wise woman who's in her, early age, I don't know. You could have used a wiser words, but I'll take it for now. I'll take it. No, I think it is true, and especially growing up in that circumstance or the lifestyle that you had, it's just hard to really see a foreseeable future without really going through the turmoil itself. So it's what you went through is actually what's necessary for you to see this new vision of your life. So that's something.
Yes, you've got the benefits of hindsight. The 2020 vision of hindsight. Sure. I can look back now and see ways that I could have been more effective in all of the areas of my life, but I didn't know at that time. So I think all of us, we're just muddying our way through. You're just like clawing, you learn it as you go, and then you realise, okay. And sometimes you're learning the same lesson 5 times. You keep going around the same mountain.
God bless that mountain. Okay, so, and I guess before we do go, 2 things I would like to know from you. 1, what is the motto that you live by? I mean, you told me your dedication and the fact that freedom and empowerment is your motto, or is your principle, should I say. But what's the motto that you live by, or a saying or a mantra that you just say to yourself every day to really keep you motivated and going?
Yeah, I've got 2 that I've got 2 little ones. Yeah. So the first one is, your breaking point is your making point.
Ooh, I like that.
So
okay.
It's at the time you get broken that you really see what you're made of, and you can really construct something quite amazing from there.
Yep.
And then the other one is yesterday's best is tomorrow's benchmark. So, and that connects back to my absolute love of learning and continuing to explore ways of having a better life, being better, you know, enjoying more. And I don't only mean in a tangible sort of material sense. I mean, enjoying more of who I am, enjoying more out of my relationships and a real fullness and depth. So in all of those things, if I achieve a best, and then the next day, well, that can be the new normal then. And progressively, there can be improvement that comes.
Oh, man, I like that one. Yesterday's best is tomorrow's benchmark. That's very clever. Very clever. This is why you're here, and I'm interviewing you instead of being on the other side. So, so the last message you want to tell people before you go?
If I don't know.
Don't be pushy, but I mean, you can if you want to, but just try not to.
Reach out to me. I'm always up for a chat, so reach out to me in Facebook. I'll always flick a little message. I hope that I wish you well.
Okay, that's great. So just to summarize, she's Kerry. You can message her on, is it operationverb.com?
Yes, you can visit the website, operationverb.com, or email me, info.
Brilliant. And then you can also look up, search for her both in LinkedIn and in Facebook, under Kerry Nelson, or the Kerry Anne?
My personal profile in Facebook is Kerry Nelson.
Yep.
My profile in LinkedIn is Kerry Anne Nelson.
Kerry Anne Nelson, there you go.
Yeah.
And if you want to get a copy of your book, where should we go?
Yes, go to operationverb.com/services/books. But if you go to the services page, you'll see the book link there.
And do we get an intimate autograph if we buy the book?
Yes, absolutely. Send me a message and I'll write you a little message back.
There you go.
In the book.
We can live with that. So and I guess you still have a lot in the future going on for you, and you still have a bigger vision than just this. And I can see multiple books and more websites, more businesses, more ventures for you, because you still have that drive to continue growing, which is great. Make sure you guys go to operationverb.com.au. Is it .com?
Just .com.
Yeah, so operationverb.com. If you go to the services section, you'll also be able to get a copy of her book, and she will autograph it for you. Her words, not mine. She still has more to give and more yet to come, so stay tuned. Follow her on both Facebook on Kerry Nelson and on LinkedIn under Kerry Anne Nelson. Kerry, you've been great. Thank you so much. And our work together will definitely continue once I find myself, should I say.
That's all good, Jay. It's always a pleasure. I'm really happy to help you, and I love what you're building. I love what you're doing. It's really inspiring.
Thank you. People, I hope you heard that. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.